D&D is undoubtedly my favourite board game of all time, but it's sad to see that not many younger people are getting into it because there's so much opportunity for creativity and fun storytelling with younger audiences. In this video, part 1 of our series, A Guide to D&D for Younger Players, I'll talk you through what D&D is and why you should play it. Hail and well met, and welcome to Dungeon Mastiff, a channel about creating original D&D content right here for you. If you like this video, please consider subscribing and liking the video, as it only takes a second and it really helps out. Or consider supporting us on Patreon at Dungeon Mastiff, which is linked in the description. We post really cool stuff there weekly, so make sure to check it out. Today's quick note is that we really want to hit 20 subscribers by November, because if we do, we'll take a commented video suggestion and make it into a video. So if you want a question answered with a video for you, just make sure to subscribe and comment it down below. Alright, today I'll be telling you all about what D&D is and why you should play it. Let's dive right in. To first explain what D&D is, I'll just give 10 quick pointers just to set the scene for what D&D is really made up of. Number 1, D&D is an open-ended tabletop role-playing game, also known as a TTRPG, where the characters get to choose where the story goes themselves, which I think is really fantastic and what really sets D&D apart from other board games. It's set in a fantasy world of the DM's choosing, or potentially its own creation. The DMs can create whole new worlds for characters to explore. Don't worry if you know what a DM or a character is, I'll explain that later. D&D is played by 2 or more people, the majority of those being PCs, also known as player characters, and one of those people being the DM, or Dungeon Master. The main body of the people are the characters. I would recommend 2 to 6 characters at most, and the characters are intrepid adventurers who have banded together to solve a particular problem. The story is guided by the DM, who creates problems, lays traps, and controls NPCs, or non-player characters, for a really cool adventure. The characters have character sheets and they roll special dice to do certain actions. And these dice range from 4-sided to 6, 8, 10, 12, and even 20-sided, and are called a specific name based on how many sides it has. A 6-sided dice will be called a D6 for short, while a 20-sided dice will be called a D20. You see the pattern here? It's just D followed by the amount of sides the dice has, so like D4, D6, etc. Each character will have certain strengths and weaknesses, and these are based on the 6 main character scores: Strength, Dexterity, Constitution, Intelligence, Wisdom, and Charisma, but we'll go into that a bit later in this series. These characters in your adventuring party don't all have to be similar. In fact, it's better if they aren't. There's a variety of races and classes to choose from, ranging from elves to dwarves to humans, and even clerics, fighters, and wizards. Finally, D&D is brought to life by imagination. Design your characters with specific weaknesses in mind, and really think like the characters would. The DM can even reward you with strictly sticking to the core rules of your character, but most importantly of all, have fun. Phew, that was a lot. But there are many, many more things that D&D is made up of, however, but these previous ones are kind of the main ideas of D&D, and the others will be explored later in this series. So, you've just been listening to me tell you 10 things about what D&D is, and you might be asking, Dungeon Mastiff, why should I want to play D&D? So again, I'll just give you 10 quick reasons why you should start playing D&D, because again, I love D&D, and I think everyone should be able to play D&D because they understand what it is, and I just really want to share the experience of playing D&D with everyone. Number 1, D&D is more fun than you think. It sparks jokes, fun, and hilarity in any and all situations. A missed roll, a complete blunder, everything in D&D, when taken in the right attitude, can lead to fun times. Number 2, creativity is at the core of D&D. The whole adventure is imagined completely by you, and if the Dungeon Master is really good at storytelling, you can usually see the situations your characters are in your mind's eye, and no other game in the entire world does that for me, and this is what makes D&D really special to me. The ability it just makes to create a story that I can see and experience myself. Number 3, as well as creativity, D&D rewards thinking outside the box. You don't just have to attack and swing your sword every round. The fun of D&D really comes in trying, smashing a flagon of ale and setting it on fire to get around a situation. And that's one of the things I take out of D&D. I really love playing it and finding unique solutions to any situation. Number 4, D&D is unique from other board games. Whilst other board games generally have a strict pattern players follow, D&D is an open world game. Every situation is unique, and that's the glory of D&D, that you can shape where the game goes. How many times have you read an amazing story and become emotionally invested in it? In D&D, you write that story yourself, making it a truly amazing game. Number 5, it's a really good way to connect with other people. Get 3 or 4 friends over and start an adventure. Spending 2 to 3 hours every week or fortnight together really brings you together, especially if you're all playing D&D. D&D is really good in the way that it's entirely a team game. It's not competitive in the slightest. Unless you're intentionally pitted against each other, your team succeeds and fails together, which is part of the beauty of the game. The game is also great in that everything is up to the group playing, right down to the very world you're in. It can be a classic sword and sorcery setting, or maybe it's in the future or anything in between. It can even be from a famous book you read or anything you can play in any world in D&D. Number 8, hot tip. If you want to get into a game that costs money like D&D, get your parents to buy it for you. Tell them that D&D is a great learning game for problem solving, critical and creative thinking, and so much more, and they'll be sure to buy you all the books you need. You're welcome. Number 9, while D&D does take some time to fully master, it's a good game for all skill levels. Even if you don't know anything much about the game besides the core rules, you can still have a great time with your friends. Number 10, finally, D&D's Expandable and Continual. When you finish one adventure, start again with another. Switch DMs if you want, change up the characters, and have another great time. The best thing is, there are a lot of free supplements on the internet for D&D, and you can even make your own. If you want some stuff like this, from monsters to cool magic items and awesome maps, make sure to check out our Patreon page. The link is in the description. Alright, we just got through the first episode of our series, A Guide to D&D for Young Beginners. Thank you so much for watching, and if you're still watching to this point, you must have liked this video, so just please take a second to like the video and subscribe. Make sure to comment a video suggestion of yours down below, and you might get a video made of it. Keep your eyes out for the next episode of the series, where we'll be talking about the things that you need to get started for playing D&D. Thank you so much for watching again, and I'll see you in the next one.